All right, guys, we're back with another episode of Recruiter Fuel. Now, the whole purpose of this is to talk about topics that are both taboo and in the everyday life of a recruiter. And this is going to be one of these that I think we're going to have a lot of debate on. And Melissa, thank you for joining me on this particular one. So to the audience out there that's watching, recently I was on Facebook and I sparked a debate because of the comment I made around, are recruiters in any way responsible for quality of hire? So without going into the depths of what I talked about, Melissa, broad question. Are recruiters in any way responsible for quality of hire?
I think it's twofold. I think to an extent you are. As a recruiter, you're responsible, I think, for finding a quality candidate, meaning, following the parameters of what the client is looking for, as well as be upfront and honest with them about salary. Let's say they're looking for other jobs and might have other offers, to kind of be upfront with a client about that. However, I think as soon as the candidate walks in the door, I think the responsibility switches over to the client in terms of training and getting them up and running. That's something you can't control.
So 3 months from now, if the candidate fails, it has nothing to do with you as a recruiter. It's all on the hiring manager at that point.
I think, as a recruiter, you should be checking in. That's part of it, to make sure, hey, how's it going? How is your first week? How is your first month? And if you're getting feedback from the candidate saying, well, I'm having trouble with a manager, or nobody's showing me the proper steps to do things, then I think that's your responsibility to step up as a recruiter and a partner with that client and let them know the feedback that you're getting.
What if you talk to the hiring manager and the hiring manager starts to say negative things about the candidate? Is that something as a recruiter that you feel you have any type of input into?
I think so. If you have, especially with a direct hire candidate, it's usually a longer process, to get the person hired and through the door. And I think it's a representation of you with that client a lot of times, because if you bring in a bad candidate, the client will probably remember that. Hopefully not.
Sure,
Hopefully it won't
sure.
reflect badly on you. But, I was always told you can only control the controllables.
Sure.
So certain things are out of your hands, but I think as long as you do the necessary steps to keep the lines of communication open, I think that's all you really can do.
Okay, let's talk about necessary steps here for a second.
Sure.
Because literally this ignited on Facebook, where there was people saying I was condescending to them, that I was completely wrong, that literally once that candidate is hired, the recruiter is out of it. Our job as recruiters, this is what the general theme was from a lot of folks, was our job is only to play matchmaker. In fact, there was a correlation drawn to Match.com, dating site, right? And the question became, would Match.com be responsible for a failed relationship? So correlate those two, right?
Yeah.
So does it really fit? Are we responsible for quality of hire in any way? Is Match.com responsible for the quality of the relationship in any way?
Ooh. That's good.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah. I think, me personally, if you have a relationship with the client and, I think putting that extra step forward, if there is problems, is going to possibly maybe not have the candidate leave, right? So if you don't do anything, then it's kind of back on you, honestly, because if you knew about it and didn't say anything, see something, say something.
Okay, that was a good politically correct answer now, Melissa. Now let's go back to the question that I asked, though.
Yeah.
Is Match.com responsible for the quality of the relationship that they put together?
No.
Why?
People sign up on their own free will, but if you think about it, Match.com is all computer generated.
It is.
It's not that personal touch and connection with the client. You're not dealing with them on a daily basis. Match just has people sign up, and then based off of a quiz that they fill out, that's who they're matched with.
If it didn't work, would people use it?
If
Match.com didn't work, if there wasn't relationships being created, do you think people would use it?
No.
So my understanding about Match.com is they're always tweaking the algorithm to always get better because they feel a little bit of a responsibility to the success. Because if they're all failures, they're really not going to continue to use it.
Right.
So I look at that from a recruiting perspective and say, okay, are we responsible in any way for who the hiring manager hires?
No.
We're not.
No.
Why?
Because they have their own free will and they're going to click with who they click with and they're going to pick the best person that they think is for their department. Whether or not we feel that way, the hiring manager ultimately is going to have the final say.
And you can't influence that at all?
You can.
How?
By just giving them the facts of why you think maybe your candidate versus who they want to pick is a better fit.
Yep.
And question them about it. And if they still say they have their mind made up and they want to pick another candidate, then you know.
Absolutely, they have some ultimate control, but do we have any input? So let me give you an example.
Sure.
And this is one of the things that I used in my group in Facebook that just half of them agreed and half of them didn't agree. We have 3 candidates that we present as a recruiter. So I'm presenting to you, Melissa, 3 different candidates.
Right.
None of the 3 hit the minimum bar. None of them. But yet, as the manager, you feel compelled to pick the best of the worst. So you hire one of my 3. Are you only responsible for that? Or as the recruiter, am I responsible for it as well?
I think at that point, the recruiter has to take some responsibility because if you're not even at the minimum requirements of what they initially wanted in the conversation that you had and you're just getting lower level candidates just to submit candidates and get a hire, then yeah, there's definitely a responsibility.
And that was the point I was trying to make in this firestorm that I keep referencing, right? Because it just kept going on and on and on. I don't know that we can, as recruiters, we can walk away completely from quality because we're responsible. Now, if we present 3 really great candidates that are all above that bar, assuming we know the bar, it's ultimately the hiring manager's responsibility. And I agree with you that if it falls apart, it could be the personality of the hiring manager. It could be all kinds of issues. But I'm not willing to say, as recruiters, that we can walk away from the quality of hire completely. Because if we provide them with junk and they hire from junk, because we're supposed to be the expert in candidates, they're hiring the best of the worst. And now we're at fault.
Right.
So there's the dilemma that goes back and forth on this.
Yeah.
But I do think we have some part of what's going on in the quality of hire.
Yeah, we definitely do. That's part of your job as a recruiter, you know, to
Agreed.
take a good intake, know what you're looking for, and at least check off. You're not going to check off all the boxes usually. That you're never going to find the perfect candidate, but if you can get pretty close, that's all you can do.
Yeah, I don't think you can blame the recruiter. So this was the other thing that came out of this Facebook discussion about don't blame the recruiter. I'm not blaming the recruiter. You're a recruiter, I'm a recruiter. We've both been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take some ownership like Match.com is and trying to do better at what we do in order to make more of those fits. So in that respect, I think we have a little bit of a responsibility to quality of hire.
Yeah, agreed.
Look, this is not going to be the end of this conversation because I guarantee you, as people out there are watching this, we're going to have all kinds of comments. Some that are going to say great and some that are going to say I'm nuts. And that's okay. It's good to have the different opinions. But I think it's something that we've got to continue to talk about because we're surely involved in the process.
Oh, yeah.
Melissa, thank you for your thoughts and impact on this.
Welcome.
Hey guys, make sure you join us for the next episode. We're not going to be continuing this conversation for a little bit of time. I want to get your feedback before we go down that path, but we're going to continue on a couple of things around these myths in recruiting, because I'm considering this one of the myths that I think are out of control at this point.
Yep.
Make sure you come back.